Okay, welcome to this little tutorial on I call it two timers. We're going to explore keyframes and we're going to explore movie clips a little bit. Let me show you what the final project's going to look like when we're done. So here we have, if you notice, basically I have two timers, right? Counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what's happening here is they're running at different speeds. One's running very, very quickly, and one is running more like each second. 5, 4, 3. So it's kind of interesting if you think about that, because if you compare that to fireworks, if you remember when fireworks, if you ever try to get into, if you try to do something kind of deep, you really couldn't do that. Everything was running the same speed. You couldn't have like the eyes of moving at one speed and the hand moving at a different speed. Let's say you're doing some animation with hands and eyes moving. They would always move together. But here in Flash, you have the ability to have things kind of running independently. That can be pretty powerful. So we're going to get into that with movie clips, and we're also going to explore a lot about keyframes. So let's go ahead and just start this. I'm going to open up my Flash. I already have it open. I'm going to start a new file. I'm going to shrink that down just a little bit here so I can see everything. And notice here, if you ever have this is like your stage, you can always say fit to window or show frame, and it'll kind of like resize everything. Once in a while, I've noticed before, some people can do this. They can scroll up and they lose their stage. They can't find it. I don't know if you can see in this video because I know the quality is not so great, but the stage is white and then the off stage area is kind of gray. You can see that on your own screen. So that's a nice little one. If you ever get lost, just say show frame. It kind of brings everything together. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to kind of do this thing backwards. I'm going to kind of start the way I imagine a lot of you guys would start this if you were trying to just make it. So let's say you're going to just start by making one of these timers. All right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go right here in the main stage, and then as we go, we're going to kind of start to undo things and make things a little more skillfully. So I'm going to start with my timer. Now looking at the timer, just kind of I'm going to think out loud here. Notice I have two things. I have text going, counting down, and then I have a little background. So I'm going to want to have two layers, all right? So I'm going to open up, I'm in my layer 1 for my text, or my counting. You can call it count. That's like my count layer. And then I'm going to have another layer. Make sure you hit insert layer here, not the folder. Be careful. Sometimes you get the folder. And that's going to be my background. I'm just going to call it back G. Now the background should be below the count, so I'm going to bring it below. And let's go ahead and make this background first. So I'm just going to grab my rectangle, and I'm going to, what I did is I just went through these 4 colors here. So I start with kind of gray, colored it, I just went like that. And then now I'm going to come up into the count layer. I'm going to write my number 1. Hey, and remember this, I'm going to lock down the background layer because I don't want to accidentally put my text. Pick any text you want, okay? It doesn't matter. I'm going to use this elephant text, and I'm just going to put 1. Now what I want to do here is I want to squish this box down, because I want to center this perfectly. So I'm going to open up my line panel. Now some of you, your line panel might not be open. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Because I know when I first opened up mine, it wasn't open. My Flash looked like this. So if you don't have your line panel open, go to Window, and over here, Align. And it will do like this. It'll open up and it'll be floating. If you grab right along here, you notice how my cursor changed those 4 arrows, then you can bring it over. And if you get it close, and you touch it just right, it'll dock inside, and that's what I want it. Now I want to turn on to stage. Make sure that you've selected the text, but you don't want to double click. If you double click inside of it, then you could center it here, but that's not going to center to the stage. You need to just click once so it's highlighted, and then come over here, make sure that the stage is on, and then click at the center, that's left and right, and then distribute it, align it, align with vertical center there. Now it's perfectly in the middle. Looks good. So there's my 1. Now I'm going to come over and I'm going to insert a keyframe. Now you could choose blank keyframe, which would start from scratch. I'm going to Control Z that. It's just a little easier if you insert a keyframe and the 1's already there. I can double click into it and put, oh, I should be counting down, shouldn't I? So I should put a 4. Let me go back and change that. That should be a 5. So I'm going to do that for each frame. Insert a blank keyframe. Oops. I'm going to insert a keyframe. It'll copy the 4 forward, and then I can just click into it and press 3. Insert a keyframe. 2. I'm going to put my backgrounds in a minute. Insert a keyframe. 1. and then insert a keyframe. And now I'm going to write blast off. And notice it's doing that. It's making it all vertical because I made that box really small. So I'm going to have to like go like that. Boom. And I'm going to make it like that. How about? And a little exclamation point. Blast off. Now the blast off is not centered anymore. So let me click on it. Now notice my text has been centered. Some of yours may be like this. It doesn't look so good. So I'm going to click into the box, center the text, and then click on the box itself, use my align panel, and get it back right in the middle. And that way it'll line up nicely with the numbers. So it's going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So now let's go ahead and do the, I'm going to lock that layer, unlock this. I'm going to do my colors. Oops. I don't want to do keyframe, I want to do insert a keyframe, yeah, not a blank keyframe, but a regular keyframe. Now it's going to bring the color forward. I'm going to click on this color, I'm going to change it to red. Alright, just to make it kind of interesting. Insert a keyframe. Notice when you first insert it's not selected, so I'm going to click it once, now it's selected, and I can change it to green. Insert another keyframe, and now I can change it to blue. Insert a keyframe. Whoop. And I can change it to, I'm going to go back to just white and black, gray, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to insert a final keyframe, and I'm going to change this color one more time to red. So now I should have it. Now let's look at it and see. So to preview, I'm going to hit Control. Actually, I should save it first. Remember, Flash can have a lot of errors. So I'm going to save this, put it in my Flash folder. Oh my gosh, I'm all the way in nowhere land. So where's my stuff? EHS, Richter. So I'm going to go to my web design. I have a Flash folder already. I already made it 2 timers to sample. I'm going to call this 2 timers 2. This is my second one, but you can just call yours 1, whatever. All right, so I saved it. Let's Control Enter and see what it's looking like. Okay, so first thing is it's going pretty fast, right? Well, why is it going so fast? It's going so fast because I haven't put in space in between these keyframes. They just play one after each other. Now you're used to that with the photo viewer, but remember the photo viewer, what you did is you put buttons in, so then you were able to stop it and pause it. With this one, you can't do that. With this animation, we're trying to do a different thing. We're just going to count down. So it's going too fast, and the other thing is it's dominating the whole stage. Well, that's the way I drew it. I should have drawn it smaller, but that's okay because what I want to do is I want to kind of work backwards, and I want to show you. Come back to the sample. What if you look at this carefully? A better way of looking at this is see this is the main stage here. And then look at these two as like 2 separate little animations. If you see it that way, it's a little bit easier to figure it out. So if you think of that with Flash, if you're going to do animations, the more you can kind of break them down independently and turn them in their own little clips, the better things will go for you generally in your life, with Flash at least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer all this stuff into a movie clip. So watch how I'm going to do this and then do it with me. I'm going to insert a new symbol. I'm going to make it a movie clip, and I'm going to call this counter 1. All right, this is my fast count. I'm going to call it counter fast. All right, because this one goes very fast, and then make a second one that goes slow. Okay, so there I have this symbol now, this movie clip symbol, and notice what happened. I came inside the movie clip, so I have a whole new timeline here. And look up here. Here's scene 1. Here's the counter fast. I'm going to go back to scene 1. I'm going to click on the very first keyframe, and then I'm going to hold on to my shift key. Okay, make sure you do that. Hold down your shift key and click on the very last one down in the row below. That will highlight all of the keyframes. So they're all highlighted. So if you didn't get that, I click on the very first keyframe in the top left, hold down the shift key, there they go, and then click on the second one. Now they all highlighted. Now right click and say cut frames. Boop. Now I cut all those frames out. Don't worry, come over to counter. See how I did? I double click. You have to click on the icon. If you click on where it says counter, you just rename it. All right, you got to click on the icon, go inside of it. Now click on this very, oops, I'm not in it yet. There, now I'm in it. Click inside the very first frame, right click, and paste frames. There, now everything I did is inside this movie clip now. Now I come back to scene 1. Now I have all this extra garbage. I don't need this. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to grab this here. I'm going to move it back. Boom. I think sometimes you have to do that twice. Oh, it's not even working. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on the first and the last and hit remove frames. Click on that frame 2 and that last frame, remove frames. There, now I don't need them all. And now I don't even need this background and count layer. I'm going to delete this layer. All I need is my my main layer. So now my movie seems to be like nothing, but now what I can do is take this movie clip, counter fast, and I can drag it out onto the stage. Sweet. And then I can resize it. There. And my text got so small, I should have made a bigger text to begin with. That's okay. I can go inside here and I can change it real quick here, right? It won't be too long. So I can click on here and maybe make it up to, how about 80. And I'm going to redistribute it so it's right in the center. Now remember, I have to click off of it. Center that up. I'm going to do that for each one. So I'm going to double click on that. I'm just going to type 80 and then I click off of it. And I'm going to then center it and pop it up. Now that one didn't, it got centered weird. Let me make that happens. You make that box smaller and then re-center it so it looks good. There, that's better. I'm going to pause the video and do the rest. You don't need to watch me do it. Okay, I'm back. I'm just going to do this last one. Hopefully you're figuring yours out. I'm doing size 80. I'm having the same problem each time with I just kind of grab this box and redo that. I had to like squish it in to get the number right in the middle, and then I centered it up. All right, there, that's good. And then I better make this one bigger too. I gotta grab that box, bring that out a little bit there, and then center that up. Oh my goodness. All right, now I did it all. And since I did it in the movie clip, I come back to scene 1, and now everything's a lot bigger. So it looks good. So now let's play it. There, now it's going very fast. Good, that's what I wanted. Now what I want to do is I want to slow it down, all right? So let's save this. And let me save this video and go on, and in part 2, I'm going to do the slow one.